and welcome to Exploring Performance Poetry, part of All Together Now, which is Tramshed's brilliant free arts program live here on YouTube. To get the most out of today's session, please choose the live chat as opposed to the top chat in the chat function. This way you can chat to us and other people joining in the session. So my name is Elle Dillon-Reams. I am a poet and an actor and a writer. I'm currently working on my second spoken word play, which is called Meet, which will be out via audio this summer. I have also done another spoken word play. I'm working on a poetry collection at the moment, and I've just said yes to writing a book, so you are in very safe hands. We're going to be looking at spoken words today and the performative element of poetry. So we're going to write something, then think about how we might passionately perform it, and whether that's you recording yourself today or making notes, or whichever way you find the most accessible to get your ideas down, all are welcome. So spoken word is about expressing something that we feel really passionately about. So it might be something that's quite political or provoking, but you as the poet, as the spoken word artist, which you all are today, are trying to make an impact on your audience. So you want them to think or feel something or have a response or a reaction. So be as honest and authentic as you can, be as specific and as detailed as you can, and find your inner Sasha Fierce, who is Beyonce's alter ego. There's no silly questions and there's no stupid suggestions, so please use the chat as freely as you like, and I'll be using slides as well as explaining things as we go. This workshop, or this explorative experience we're all going to have together, the main aim is that it's joyful. So if you don't manage to get something down for all of the suggestions I give you, don't worry, no stress. If you want to just sit back and listen, that's also fine too. We're just trying to find some smiles, find some sunshine. So I always start with lists to warm up my brain. So just as an athlete would do a warm up before they're ready to run a marathon, you as a writer, you as an artist are going to warm up your creative brain, get your creative juices going. And we're going to do that with lists. Really simple. I'm going to have a timer on. And for each 40 seconds or so, I will say a different category, which you can see on the slide now. Try and put, if you're writing with pen to paper, and just write as many things as you can. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about how neat it is. Just vomiting out as much as you can from your brain. So the time starts now. I would like you to list as many colours as you can. As many colours as you possibly can. You might like to start with the rainbow. You might have a look around your room that you currently find yourself in. The colours that you can see on screen right now. As many colours as you can. And now I would like as many vegetables as you can. As many different kinds of vegetables. You might start with what you're going to have for dinner tonight. If anyone's having a roast, what's in a roast? Think about ones that you like, ones that you don't like. Try and think about getting something from each of the colours of the rainbow. And stop there. I would now like a list of as many people as you can. So people alive or dead, real or fictional, characters, people you know, people you don't, strangers, famous people, as many different people as you can. And coming to a close, as many different chocolate bars. Now I will permit you to name different types of sweets if necessary. If it's helpful, imagine yourself in a corner shop, see them in front of you. Think about ones that you liked as a child and ones that you like now, ones that you don't like. Maybe go through the alphabet, see how many you can get down. And stop there. As many different places as you can think of, so settings, as many different places. You can go big with this, you can say the world as a place. You can also bring it right down. So imagining you've zoomed all the way out on a Google map, you're zooming all the way in. So you might say the corner of my room, the back of my fridge, the bottom of my wardrobe. Or you might say the city of Paris, on a beach, in a field. As many different ones as you can. Final few seconds. Using our imaginations even more so. Things you would find in a pocket. Things you would find in a pocket. Doesn't have to be your pocket. What might be in there? Don't need to think of the why it's in there, but what might be in there. And final few seconds. Things you would find in a bin. Things you would find in a bin. And if you want to put a bit of detail in this, you might decide to say there's a nappy in the bin, but how old is it? A 2-week-old nappy is going to provoke a real sense of smell. Might be a banana skin. It might be a Valentine's card. Ooh, why is that in the bin? Why haven't they recycled it? You might think, what is in your bin right now? And we're going to stop there. I would like things you find in the bottom of the sea. Maybe nobody's been to the bottom of the sea yet. I don't think they have. I think we know more about the moon, don't we, than the bottom of the sea. So what could be down there? We've now got as many different feelings as you can think of. As many different feelings. So that's emotionally, what feelings do we feel? But also the feeling of an ice cube on your tongue, or the feeling of a warm bath after a really long day, the feeling of your favourite jumper. Got some amazing suggestions coming in on the chat. Keep them coming. I now would like a list of as many smells as you can think of. A shipwreck at the bottom of the sea from Jane. Excellent suggestion. So as many different smells as you can think of. So think of nice smells and not so nice smells. Smells that make you feel things. So you might have, my grandpa always used to smoke a pipe. So now the smell of pipe tobacco always makes me think of him. So smells can be super evocative, but also come back to your bin suggestions and just go through what those smells are. And stopping there, I would like a list of tastes. List of tastes. So maybe start with, what does your mouth taste like right now? What tastes have you sampled today? What are your favourite tastes? What are your least favourite tastes? Fantastic. I would now like a list of sounds. Just had for tastes, Jane saying lemons, fish and lavender. Hopefully not all together. Although maybe Heston Blumenthal could make something delicious out of that. So sounds. So we've gone through all of our 5 senses, trying to wake up how we describe things. I think a lot of us rely on what things look like, and actually it's really nice to go give us a full 360 view of experience. And that's it. That's all you've got time for. I would now like a list of your favourite words. Don't think too much, just whatever comes out first. Your favourite words. Which we're going to follow on from with your least favourite words. The words you don't like, or the words that make you feel a bit, ugh. Again, don't overthink it. Just get it down. Whatever comes out is valid. And we're on to our 2 final categories, my favourite ones. I would like to know, what are the best things in the world? The best things in the world. Got someone who's popped in the chat, already a line of poetry for sounds. Birds singing, bells ringing. So if rhymes fall out quite easily from you when you write, then something to definitely explore today, but no pressure if not. I wonder if that was an intentional rhyme or an accidental one. Couple more seconds to do your best things in the world. And then finally, I would like you to fill in at the end of this sentence, if I could change the world, I would. What would you do? You've only got 40 seconds to tell us everything you would do. It can be as ridiculous or as serious, maybe a combination of the two, as you like. Perhaps thinking about what do you not like about the world? Tramshed has suggested the best thing in the world is people. What do you all think? Gotta say I agree, Tramshed. We've also got ice cream, swimming, cats and dogs. Yeah. Perhaps a beach where you can take cats and dogs down and all have ice cream together. maybe if you could change the world, you would make that mandatory, that we all got to do that. And finishing off there. Fabulous, fabulous. So I would like you to share in the chat what you would do if you were going to change the world. What would you do if you were going to change the world? So these lists right here are a bit of a brain dump, but also a really nice warm up, and leave you with a page of seemingly random ideas, but ideas that have been quite provocative to you and are now a big page of inspiration, which even if you don't use them today, you could come back to them tomorrow, the next day, whenever you decide that you would like to do a bit of crafty making or expressing of something, and coming back to going, oh, my least favorite words and smells, and I'm going to make a piece out of that, or a vegetable and a person, or the best things in the world and something you'd find in the bottom of the sea. We've got a lovely suggestion saying, if I could change the world, I would turn all the trees purple. Bet you could find some purple blossom somewhere. That might satisfy your needs, but maybe not. Maybe it's like Alice in Wonderland where they're painting all the trees different colours. Wonderful work, everybody. Well done. You have completed your warm-up. We are now going to move on to our task. So spoken word can so often be quite political, can have quite a serious message behind it. And I want to ease off that today. I want us to think of something we're really passionate about, and we're going to try and convince our audience that it is the best thing in the world or the best person in the world. We're going to write odes. Now, odes are just short pieces celebrating a something or a someone. So you could write an ode to your mum, your best friend. You could write an ode to Marmite toast, or to Ron Weasley, to your favourite athlete, to Greta Thunberg, to Simba, to Moana. You could write an ode to your bed, right? There are no rules, but you got to pick one thing, or a person, or an animal. You could write an ode to your cat. And I am going to show you or read to you now my example ode. So I wrote this in my writing group. We went around and we picked somebody from the writing group that we were going to write an ode about. And this is my ode. Spring, bursting buds, blinking open, petals stretch, unfurl, eyes wide. Colourful surprise, freshness of air breathed deep and sigh, sparkle sunbeams out of fingertips. She is spring, a massive expanse of outside with muddy bits and wildflower tips that kiss the back of legs as you twist and twirl, dance with the wisdom of oak trees. A banging beat. Weightless feet moving and grooving on shooting stars, crescendos and sing-along bars of euphoria, a beautiful multicolored jumper that holds you tight, helps you shine a little brighter, reminds you you're a fighter. You are unadulterated joy. Pure and whole, fizzy fresh clarity of thought and breath, mojito sweet, and suddenly you're giggly, singing along to her song and smiling. And she, who initially seemed so intimidating, worried your insecurities, seemed like she was everything you could never be, is really a puppy. One of the most gorgeous puppies, who nurtures the puppy that barks within you. Bubbly, beautiful, vibrant, and happy. This is an ode to the wonder that is Evie. So that was my ode that I wrote. From the prompts I am going to send or deliver to you now. So I went a little bit in between she is and you are. So I was thinking about as if I was telling the world how brilliant Evie is, but then also speaking to her directly one-on-one. So you can choose to do both or pick one-on-one. We'll come back to that in a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to describe this thing or this person or this animal or this place in as much detail as you can. No detail too small, no detail too large. I want you to imagine you're talking to an alien who has no idea what you're talking about. So if you were trying to explain Marmite toast, like you got to go in on what does it smell like? What does it taste like? How does it feel on your hands? How does it feel on your tongue? What shape is it? What color is it? Same with a person. It's all very well being like, they're quite tall and they like to wear blue, but go in more than that. There's no, like I said, no detail too small. So 3 minutes on the clock, as much detail as you can about the subject of your ode. Off we go. Wonderful. So that is your 3 minutes to describe this person or this thing. So we're now going to move on to writing a little bit more detail about them. I would like to know some non-literal things about this person. So in the same way that my piece about Evie, I said she was spring and I said she was a mojito and a colourful jumper. She is not actually those things. She is a human being, but what she brings, the joy that she emanates. So I want you to think about, like, why are you writing this ode about this person or this thing or this place or this food? So if this person or this thing, your muse, your subject, was an animal, what animal would they be? Now, if you're actually writing it about an animal, maybe think about, like, what does their energy give off? Like, so if you're writing about your cat, maybe your cat is a dragon. Mine is currently sunbathing in my garden and could not be less of a dragon if he tried. If your subject was a food, what would they be? If your subject was a colour, what would they be? If your subject was a drink, what would they be? And go specific. Think about, so for me, like putting a drink, but saying, okay, so like Evie is a mojito, but she's a mojito in like a long, tall glass that's got ice in it and looks a bit posh. But also I've got people in my life or things in my life that I would go, oh, they're in your best mug that's a little bit chipped and been through the wash too many times, so it's a bit faded, but with a really delicious hot chocolate in. Go for the detail. If your subject was a household object, what would they be? Are they a shower curtain? Are they a wooden spoon? Are they a mirror or a dripping tap? If your subject was a season, what would they be? So thinking about spring, summer, autumn, winter, then go a little bit more specific. So I could say they are still a bit too cold, but buds of flowers start popping up. Or the last day of summer, the longest day of the year where the sun just stays in the sky for too long. Or the first snow of winter. I'm sure that's not true. Somebody's put in the chat, an old chipped mug with chocolate sounds like me. I think with chocolate, yes, but the old chipped mug, definitely a rusty bucket, says somebody else. If this person was subject, doesn't have to be a person, was a place, where would they be? And again, go as big, zoomed out on Google Earth, or as small as you like. So you could say they are the Sahara Desert. There's nobody around and it's boiling and it's dusty. They are the back corner of the garage where there's lots of spider webs. They are the sea with the waves crashing. Maybe that seaside that has the ice cream and the cats and dogs on it. If your subject was an experience, what would they be? So do they bring up in you that this person as an experience is watching the fireworks? This person is summer's first swim in the sea. This person is the first sip of tea in the morning, or hot chocolate in an old mug. What would this subject be if they were a feeling? So again, thinking about emotionally, what feeling? Are they happiness? They are joy. I think in my Evie poem, I said, you are joy. You are infectious and you radiate, giggles. But it could also be the feeling of like a towel that's been on the radiator on your skin, or new sheets tucked up in bed, or the wind slapping you around the face to wake you up. Oh, gorgeous. We've got from the chat, they are a tiny island near Alaska. Beautifully specific. If your subject was a piece of clothing, what would they be? So there's a difference between someone who is a sequined leotard with velour stripes that glows in the dark and an old welly boot. Again, they might not be a whole item of clothing. They might be the patch on your jeans that you've sewed in, and it makes the jeans even better. You've upcycled them. If this subject was a sound or a piece of music, what would they be? So I wanted to say sound as well as piece of music, because they might not be Mozart's symphony or like a drum and bass beat that gets in your bones. They might be the sound of a baby chick squawking. They might be the sound of wind chimes dingling away. They might be the sound of a laugh or a snort or a sneeze or an out of tune guitar, or there might be a song. For a feeling, somebody's put they are a Sunday lion. That's great. And finally, if this subject was a piece of furniture, what would they be? Are they a bunk bed that has been passed through generations of children and creaks and has got lots of writing on it, stickers on it? Are they a comfy old armchair? Are they a functional fold-up desk from IKEA? With or without the robot arms? It's optional. Great. Now that you have both of your 3 minutes, as many details as you can, and now this more poetical, metaphorical language, I'm going to let you now. Oh, we've just got a couple of things. A grandfather clock, really evocative. You know what kind of person that is immediately. Beautiful. I'm now going to give you 5 minutes or so to put these things together. So as I did with my ode, I started with some ideas, and then I said she is, and then I said you are. So actually I've played about with form massively. You can do the same, or you might have one of those things where you go, he is a grandfather clock, ticking, like, you know, you could go down that route if you found one that's super evocative and is sparking something in your brain that makes you go, yeah, I want to write about that. Simply, you could take all of these lines and put them together and decide on the order. You could decide to put in a bit more detail. So if you've written in the top box, it's really important, if we're talking about Marmite toast, that there is flora spreadable buttery and that the toast is almost burnt, that you could put that into your poem. So the more specific it is, the more we can relate to it as an audience, weirdly. So be as authentic and as you can be in this. They can be as long or as short as they like. It can be a love letter directly to them, or a big declaration that you're making to the world. Any questions, please use the chat. And otherwise, I'm not going to interrupt your writing time any longer. Go for it. Okay, so you're in your final 30 seconds or so of writing. If you are way off finishing and you're suddenly deciding, I'm not just going to write an ode, I'm going to write them a book, brilliant. Don't worry if you haven't finished. If you have finished, you can start to think about the performative element of it. So the fact that you have written this ode because you think this thing, this person, this animal, this place is worth getting really passionate about, and allowing other people to see how brilliant you think your subject is. So think about if you were doing it massive like a Shakespearean sonnet, or if you were doing a political speech or a rallying cry to a crowd of fans. People have come and they also believe the same as you and you're gearing them up. Or it's a persuasive roar at a protest march. You can still utilize the same kind of political, persuasive, provocative ways that we use spoken word, even if it's about something that's really brilliant, even if it's about Marmite toast. Apologies if there's people watching who really hate Marmite. Maybe you will do an ode for what is better than Marmite. So wrapping up where you are with your odes now. And I would like you to share your favourite lines, or the whole thing, in the chat. And I'm going to have a read of your brilliant work. Had a lovely one sent in that says, you are playground laughter in the distance, a swimming pool splash, laughing late into the night, holding hands, the joy of remembering, thank Christ it's Sunday, and retreating back in the sheets. The reliable biscuit dunked into a reliable brew, growing like an Alan Menken chord progression into that thoroughly unnecessary fruity cocktail with an umbrella in it. And I love it. Gorgeous. That had such a lovely tumbling speed up. Loved the repetition of reliable. Also, if you're taking us through the senses, we can tumble like that and then have a pause. And you've got your rhythm there. I would say do read these out loud, and I'd love to be able to hear you and see you doing that. But you can start to go, how does it feel in my mouth? Chew your way around the words. Wonderful stuff. I'm going to set you a bonus task, which it's not homework. It's just something you can do when we're no longer here, which is a potentially tricky extension. I would like you to write another ode. This time, the subject is you. You're going to write one about yourself. Seeing as you're a pro, you've already done a beautiful ode. You're a pro-oder, or a prode, as I like to call it. Use the same prompts as before and write about you. So it might be I am, or you might decide to take your name. So I might go, Elle is da 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 da. If that's hard, that can be really tricky. I find it quite tricky to write about myself in a very, very positive way sometimes. So you might like to imagine you are in the shoes of someone who loves you. So your best friend, or your cat, or your mum, or your teacher, or somebody who really loves you or admires you, and see you through their eyes. Or you can make this a completely community-based activity and text people, message people. If I was an ice cream flavour, what do you reckon I'd be? And see what people send you when it comes back. Then you could put together the suggestions that other people have given you about yourself or about somebody else. These make really lovely birthday presents. If anyone is a bit skint at the moment, wants to write something and do a creative task, get everybody to send in, like, you know, if it's your friend's birthday coming up, get everybody to write in what this person is, and then you could write something together. I think that would be lovely. Please share your works. and your beautiful explorations with us at Tramshed. You can take pictures, you can write it all out in an email, you could write it out and then take a picture of it. Better yet, record yourself performing it. Fake that confidence of someone who is winning slams, who is performing to a crowd of 400 and has no nervousness whatsoever. Or speak it very intimately just to the camera as if you were speaking directly to that person. We would love to hear and read your wonderful work. You can also email info@tramshed.org, or in real life, you can come down to Tramshed on a Monday between 12 and 4, where they are making an incredible community art gallery window display, and you can be part of it. If you want to stay in touch with me, my website is the best place to do that, which is simply www.elledillonreams.com. That's ELLEDILLONREAMS.com. This is sadly the last one of the All Together Now live workshops, but fear not, for you can check out every single workshop that has gone on already by going onto the YouTube channel. You can also download any of the worksheets that accompany these workshops, and you can send them on to your friends, share them on your networks. We ask if you could please fill out our monitoring form. It only takes a couple of minutes, and seeing as this wonderful whole program is predominantly free, we'd be very grateful to have a further few minutes of your time. The link is now in the chat. Thank you so much. If you know someone who would love this, but doesn't have digital access, so doesn't have access to the internet, but tell them that they can download the All Together Now activity sheets from the website, or they can get in touch directly with Tramshed via phone or email, and they will post the activity sheets straight to you, so it couldn't be easier. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you, Tramshed, for having me. Do check out Tramshed's brilliant website at tramshed.org, and stay in touch via all of their socials, and we'll see you all either virtually or in real life really soon. Take care.